Hey guys, imagine tapping into a limitless stream of free leads using nothing but ChatGPT and a couple of clever tricks. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into a method that not only makes this possible, but also lets you scale it to thousands of leads daily without breaking a sweat. And here's the kicker. We're doing it all with just a few clicks and a sprinkle of automation magic. Curious about how this could transform your business? Stick around and let's unravel this game changer together. Now, first of all, I want to thank you for coming back and a big welcome to all the new subscribers joining us today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jake Dawson, and I'm here to bring you the latest in AI sales automation and workflow hacks in a way that's easy to understand and apply. And as always, remember that everything we cover here is designed to help you succeed. These are not just theories, but actionable strategies that you can use right now. Now, if you're new here or looking for more ways to level up, don't forget to check out the school community link below. Inside, you'll find exclusive Make.com templates, including the one that we're using today, that you can import directly and start using immediately. We've built a whole space for learners and doers just like you, where you can ask questions, get direct help, and connect with like-minded folks who are ready to take action. And of course, you can always subscribe and hit that bell button to get notified of our bi-weekly videos, live sessions, and more. Let's jump right in. Now here's the game plan. We're going to use Google searches and ChatGPT to find a massive list of free leads. You can do it manually if you're just testing the water, or you can automate the whole thing and scale things up. First, let's start with the manual method. It's super simple. Open up Google and type this into the search bar. Site:instagram.com, and then add your keyword and location. So if you're looking for AI automation agencies in the US, you type AI automation agency, United States, site:instagram.com. But we're not stopping there. To find actual emails, add common email extensions like @gmail.com, @yahoo.com, @hotmail.com. You get the idea. Google will now show Instagram profiles that have public email addresses. Now, here's where you start collecting. Click through the results and look for accounts that have contact details. Some profiles display their email right on the page. Others might have it in their bio. Copy the details and paste them into a Google Doc. Quick tip, if you're doing this a lot, open a new Google Doc fast by typing docs.new in your browser's address bar. Just a little shortcut to save time. Now, scrolling and copy pasting is fine for a few leads, but what if you want hundreds or thousands? That's where ChatGPT comes in. Open ChatGPT and prep a quick prompt, something like extract emails and phone numbers from this text. The industry is AI automation agencies and the location is the United States. Then copy everything from your Google Doc, Command A, Command C, jump over to ChatGPT, paste it in with Command V, and boom, let AI do all the sorting for you. It'll structure everything into a neat table, pulling out the emails and numbers so you don't have to. But let's be real. Manual work is fine if you're getting started, but we want to put this on autopilot. That's where Make.com comes in. First, create a new folder in Google Drive called Google Search Leads. This is where all your leads will live. Inside that folder, make a new Google Sheet called Instagram Leads. Open up the sheet and in the first column, label it Search Terms. This is where you'll list different keywords and locations that you want to target. Now we need to define the search term. Let's start by typing site:instagram.com. No spaces between site, the colon, and Instagram.com. This tells Google to only show results from Instagram and nothing else. Now, if you want to grab leads from other platforms, just swap out Instagram.com for whatever site you need, like LinkedIn.com or Facebook.com. Next, let's add our keyword. If we're looking for AI automation agencies, we type AI automation agency inside quotes. Why? Because putting it in quotes makes Google show results with that exact phrase instead of random word combinations. And here's a small trick. Before each quote, add a little slash. This helps when we automate things later, making sure the search stays clean and formatted correctly. All right, now that we've got our search query ready, we need a place to collect all this data. At the bottom, click the little plus sign to add a fresh sheet and name it Data. This is where all your leads will land. Now let's set up the column so everything stays organized. In the first column, you want the business name. Next, a short description of what they do. Then the Instagram profile link, email address, and phone number. This setup makes sure we grab all the important details without anything getting lost. Trust me, I've been there. I once spent an hour cold emailing what I thought were high-ticket business owners, only to realize I had scraped a list of dog groomers. So yeah, label your columns. So far, so good. But we don't want to spend all day copying and pasting leads. That's where Apify comes in. If you haven't heard of it, Apify is a web scraping platform that pulls data from websites automatically. Think of it as your personal web crawler that does all the heavy lifting for you. To get started, sign up or log into Apify, then head over to the store page using the left navigation bar. Once you're there, search for Google Search Results Scraper. You'll see a bunch of options, but the one we're looking for specifically scrapes Google results. Click on it, and before you do anything, check out the pricing. It costs about $3.50 per 1,000 results, which is ridiculously cheap if you think about how much time you're saving. You could manually collect 1,000 leads, or you could just let Apify do it while you grab a coffee. Your call. Now let's set this thing up. Remember that search query we created earlier? Copy it and paste it into Apify. If you have multiple search terms like different industries or different locations, you can add them all at once so it runs through each one automatically. Now, let's talk about how many results we want. By default, Apify pulls 100 results per page, but we can go deeper. Set the number of pages to 10, which means it'll pull up to 1,000 results per search term. If you want more, you can increase it, but 10 pages is usually a good balance between getting enough leads and not overloading your sheet. Next, set the language and location. If you're targeting the US, select United States as the country and English as the language. This makes sure you're only getting relevant leads from businesses in the right region. Once everything looks good, hit save and start. Now, sit back and let Apify do its thing. The scraper will start running, and in a few minutes, you'll see all the results pop on the runs page. When it's done, you can download the results as a spreadsheet and move them into your Google Sheet. So now that we've got our leads coming in manually, let's take things up a notch and set up automation to extract business information effortlessly. Because let's be real, manually searching and copying data works, but who wants to spend hours doing that when we can make this process run on autopilot? Enter make.com. If you haven't heard of it, it's basically a platform that lets you connect all your different apps and create automated workflows. This is without needing to write a single line of code. This is the tool we'll use to build a system that takes our Google search results, extracts the useful data, and organizes it neatly into a spreadsheet. Let's set it up. Open make.com and look at the left sidebar. You'll see a section called Scenarios. This is where all your automations will live. If this is your first time here, it's going to be empty, but don't worry, we're about to change that right now. Click the Create a New Scenario button in the top right. This opens a blank canvas where we can start building our automation. Before we do anything, rename it to something easy to remember, like leads from Google Search. This might sound pretty elementary, but naming things properly now will save you from headaches later when you have multiple automations running. Now, we need to add Google Sheets, since that's where our leads will be stored. Click the big plus sign in the center, search for Google Sheets, and select Search Rows. If you haven't connected Google Sheets before, you'll see a button to add a connection. Click that, sign in with your Google account, and allow the permissions. It's just letting make.com access your spreadsheet so it can read and write data. Once connected, it's time to pick the right sheet. Select the spreadsheet called Instagram Leads and make sure you're on the correct tab, Sheet 1. That's where our search terms will go. Click Save. This tells make.com where to pull the search terms from so we can automate the searches. Next, we're going to add Apify. This is what's going to grab the detailed business info we need. Click the plus sign to add another module, search for Apify, and select Run an Actor. If you haven't connected Apify yet, you'll need an API token. No worries, it's just a fancy key that lets make.com talk to Apify. Click the Add button and you'll see a link to Apify's API and integrations page. Click it, log in, and you'll find your personal API token. Copy that, come back to make.com, and paste it in. and then save the connection. Now, let's configure Apify to scrape Google search results for us. Inside Apify, there's an actor called Google Search Results Scraper. This is the one we need. Select it from the drop-down menu. Then there's an option that says Run Synchronously. Set this to Yes. That makes sure that the scraper finishes running before moving on to the next step in Make.com, so we don't end up with half-baked results. And let's be honest, half-baked things are never a good idea. Let's do it right. Apify works using JSON, which sounds technical, but don't worry, you don't need to write any code. Go to the actors page on Apify, find the JSON button, and copy the code that shows up. Then go back to Make.com and paste it into the input JSON field using paste and match style, keeping the format correct. Before we save it, we need to tweak one small setting. Look for a line in the JSON that says force extract match. False. Change false to true. This tells Apify to only pull search results that exactly match our search term, so we don't end up with unrelated businesses. Next up, max pages per query. This tells Apify how deep to go when scraping search results. If you only need a handful of leads, keep it low, like 1 or 2 pages. But if you want a full list, bump it up. Just keep in mind that the more pages means more results, but also longer processing time. Next, dynamic search terms. Instead of manually entering search terms every time, we'll pull them straight from Google Sheets. Go into the search term field, delete any placeholder text, and select the column from your spreadsheet that contains your keyword. Now, every time you add a new keyword, Apify will automatically pick it up and scrape the results from that term. This saves a ton of time and makes it super easy to update the automation without touching Apify every time. Now, let's fine-tune the results per page setting. If you want more pages and fewer results per page, set it to something like 50. If you want fewer pages but a bigger batch of results per page, you can set it higher. A good middle ground is 50. So it keeps things efficient without overwhelming Apify with too much data at once. All right, time to lock in these settings. Click Save, and now we're ready to retrieve the data. Next step, getting those results into Make.com. Head back to your scenario in Make.com, click the plus sign to add a new module, and search for Apify. This time, instead of running an actor, select Get Dataset Items. This will pull the scraped data from Apify and send it to our Google Sheet automatically. Now, Dataset ID. This is where Apify stores the scraped data. Click on the first Apify module we set up, the one that scrapes Instagram links, and you'll see the Dataset ID. Copy that, go back to the new Apify module in Make.com and paste it into the Dataset ID field. Quick tip, if you don't want Apify to pull every single result it's ever scraped, set a limit. For example, limiting it to 100 results to keep things manageable and focused. If you're dealing with a huge data set, setting a reasonable limit makes sure that you're not pulling in unnecessary data that slows down your workflow. Now, time for the test. Click Run Once and let Make.com process the automation. It'll take a couple of minutes depending on how many pages you set Apify to scrape. Once it's done, check the output from the Apify module. If everything's set up correctly, you should see a list of Instagram links, clean and ready to go. Now, let's organize these results. Right now, the data is sitting inside an organic results array in Apify. That's just a fancy way of saying that the results are bundled together. We need to extract and format them so that they're easy to read. So here's how we do that. Click on the plus sign again in Make.com, search for Iterator, and add it. This breaks down the data into individual pieces so we can work with it properly. In the Source module field, select Apify Get Dataset Items, and for the Array field, pick Organic Results. Now, instead of one big messy block of data, each Instagram link will be processed separately. Next, let's clean it up and get it into a proper format. Click the plus sign, search for Text Aggregator, and add it to the workflow. This module lets us combine the extracted data into a clean table or list. Now, in the Source module, select Iterator and choose the fields you want: title, URL, and description. This will structure the data in a way that makes sense. So instead of raw scraped data, you have a neatly formatted table with the Instagram profile name, the link, and any available description. Before we wrap this up, let's check out the advanced setting in the text aggregator module. If you want to add separators between the data, like line breaks between each result, you can configure that here. That way, every lead will be added to its own row instead of being mashed together. Click Save to lock in the settings. Now, let's filter out only Instagram links, because right now, we might be pulling in links from other scraping processes, and we don't want a bunch of irrelevant URLs clogging things up. To do this, we're going to insert a filter between the iterator and the text aggregator. Click the little wrench icon between the two modules and select Add Filter, and name it something simple like Instagram links only. Now, set up the filter condition. In the field section, choose the URL from the iterator module. This is where each scraped link is stored. Then in the condition dropdown, select Contains and type in Instagram.com. This tells Make.com, hey, only send this data forward if the link actually comes from Instagram. If a URL doesn't contain Instagram.com, it gets left behind, which keeps everything clean. All right, time to test it. Click Run once and let the automation go through. When it's done, open up the text aggregator output and check if it's formatted correctly. If you've seen a clean block of text of Instagram leads without any extra junk, you're good to go. Now, let's convert that block of text into JSON using OpenAI. Why? Because JSON is structured, easy to process, and it can be used with other automations. Whether you want to load it into a database, send it somewhere else, or use it in another workflow. First, add a new module by clicking the plus sign and searching for OpenAI. Select Create a Completion action. This is how we'll send our data to ChatGPT and get it formatted properly. If you haven't connected OpenAI yet, click Add, then follow the link to OpenAI's API keys page, sign in, generate a new API key, copy it, and paste it into the API key field in Make.com. Click Save, and now you're connected. Now let's configure the model. In the model dropdown, select GPT-4o Mini. It's fast, affordable, and perfect for this task. Next, we need to set up a system message so OpenAI knows what to do with our data. Click Add Message, set the role to System, and type in this instruction. Convert the following text into a JSON format with an entries array. Each entry should contain the following fields: business name, URL, description, email, and phone number. This tells OpenAI exactly how we want the data to be structured. Now, click Add Message again, but this time set the role to User. In the message field, type Convert the following text into valid JSON. Then insert the text from the text aggregator module. This is the raw lead data that OpenAI will process. Next, let's configure the JSON response and how it's handled inside Make.com. In the OpenAI module, scroll down and click the Show Advanced Settings toggle. This gives us a few extra options that help us process the response more efficiently. Under Format Response, select JSON Object. This ensures the response is structured properly so that Make.com can read it as data instead of just a block of text. Then under Parse JSON Response, switch it to Yes. This tells Make.com to automatically break down the JSON into usable fields instead of treating it as a single response. Click Save, and now we're good to go. Now, let's test it. Click Run once to see how it works. After a few seconds, check the output from the ChatGPT module. You should see a clean JSON structure with a list of different businesses, each with a name, description, Instagram link, email, and phone number. If everything looks good, we're ready to move forward. Now let's process this data one entry at a time. Since JSON stores data as an array, basically a list of multiple businesses, we need to break it down so Make.com can handle each business separately. To do this, add a new module by clicking the plus sign, then search for Iterator. This module will take the JSON data and split it up into individual records. In the Array field, select the Entries array from the ChatGPT output. Click Save, and now each business will be processed one at a time. Time to integrate with Google Sheets. First, test the Iterator. Click Run once and check that it correctly breaks down the JSON into separate entries. If everything looks good, we can now push this data into our spreadsheet. Click the plus sign to add another module and search for Google Sheets. Select Add a Row. This is what will send the data to our lead spreadsheet. Now, let's configure the settings. In the spreadsheet ID field, select the Instagram leads spreadsheet inside your Google Drive. Under sheet name, choose data. This is where we'll store everything. Next, we need to map the data fields, which just means telling Make.com where to place each piece of information. Here's what goes where. Business name goes to the business name column. Description goes to the description column. Instagram link goes to the URL column. Email goes to the email address column. Phone number goes to, you guessed it, phone number column. Double check everything to make sure each field is mapped correctly. Then click Save to lock all that in. All right, let's run the full test. Click Run once and let the entire automation process JSON to Google Sheets. After a few seconds, open your Instagram lead spreadsheet and check if the data is being inserted properly. If you see all the business details neatly organized in the right columns, congrats, you've successfully automated the entire process from web scraping to structured lead generation. At this point, you've got a fully functional system that scrapes leads from Google Search, filters Instagram links, processes them into JSON, and sends the final structured data straight to a Google Sheet, all without lifting a finger. And that's it. You've just unlocked the secret to getting unlimited free leads using ChatGPT. So get ready to use this system to supercharge your business growth. It's simple, it's powerful, and now you've got it all set up. If you run into any issues or need more help, leave a comment below. I'll be happy to assist. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more easy to follow automation tips. And if you don't want to, well, I'll just assume you enjoy manually searching for leads like it's the early 2000s. Do what you want. But seriously, if you're all about taking your automation game to the next level, check out our school community. It's linked below. Inside, you'll find exclusive templates, resources, and a supportive group of like-minded people ready to help you succeed. Plus, the exact template that we used today is in there, so don't miss out. Oh, and before you click away, here's another video you'll probably want to watch next. It's packed with even more automation tips to help you crush it. I'll see you there.